This is Straight Talk with Atlanta Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and his sidekick Shanan Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fann, the Preacher Man.
Well, welcome today to Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and Shanan E. Jones. Shanan will be joining us a little later on today in the program. Shanan's got a lot of things going on. I mean, he's the president of the Concerned Black Clergy of Atlanta. He is an entrepreneur. He's just Shanan. He's just preacher, pastor. He's just doing so much. But he'll be with us in a little bit later on. But before Shanan joined the program, I want to just say, this is Lenten season. This is Lenten season. Yesterday, Wednesday was Ash Wednesday, and of course, Lenten season has begun, and it goes all the way until Easter, April the 9th. Okay, so if you have not gotten involved and started reclaiming and readjusting yourself and reconciliation to God and reconciliation to Christ, listen. Now is the time. Now is the time with so many things going on in the world, so much hatred, jealousy, envy, and so much strife that's going on, to all the killing that's happening, the things that's happening in school with our young people, so much disrespect as opposed to respect of those that are in authority, and those in authority respecting those who are not in authority, respecting each other. That's what we're supposed to do as the Bible teaches us, that what we are to do. But listen, today's program, we're going to have Miss C. She's back with us after her sabbatical. And then we'll have Brother James Broom with Black History Facts. And, of course, we will be talking about whether or not Mr. Trump is going to be indicted by the Fulton County DA, because the special grand jury has called for him to, they found justification for him to be indicted, right? And some others too, right? So we'll find out more about that, and Shanan and I come back and talk a little bit more about that, and talk a little bit more about what's going to be happening this Monday over at the Vicar Center with the Concerned Black Clergy of Atlanta. We'll see you on the other side. Don't go nowhere, and do share this program with your Facebook family and YouTube family.
Hi, Miss C here with your 3-minute news blast or more. Hey Greg, hey Shanan, hope y'all are doing well. Hope everyone is doing good. Listen, I've got a little news for you that you might want to hear about. Listen, Antioch AME at 765 South Harrison Road in Stone Mountain invites you to Celebrating Women Who Tell Our Stories. Powerful Black women, bold, beautiful, and bodacious, during their 2023 Women's History Month worship celebration on March 26 at 10 a.m. The guest speaker will be Dr. Paula Giddings, professor and distinguished author. They also invite you to their prayer brunch, which will be March 25th at 11 a.m. For more details, call 404-299-3388. Reverend Bandy C. Simmons is pastor. All right. Shady Grove Baptist at 1147 Osborne Street in Southwest Atlanta will hold their Black History celebration this Sunday, February 26, 10 a.m. with guest speaker evangelist Rebecca Brown. The pastor is James Took Sr. Everyone's invited to attend and encouraged to wear your African attire. How about that? Okay, let's see here now. Antioch also invites you to their Sister Ministers Prayer Brunch, which will be March 18th, beginning at 11 a.m. at the church, 765 South Harrison Road in Stone Mountain. You can give them a call at 404-299-3388. And as I stated before, Reverend Bandy C. Simmons is the pastor. Let's see here. I got one more tidbit of news you may want to know about. Temple of Prayer Family Worship Center and the Aaron B. Lackey Ministries invites you to movie night at the temple. It's going to be March 3rd, 7 p.m. and at the church, which is located at 161 Sonoria Road in Fairburn. And the pastor is Bishop Aaron B. Lackey. Now, listen, there are 4 things I'd like for you to do for Straight Talk News. I'd like for you to like us. I'd like for you to subscribe to us. And those little buttons are right there on the front of the screen. You can just press them and like us and subscribe. And then I'd like for you to leave a comment. Tell us how we're doing. Particularly, how do you like Greg? And, not particularly, just for an example, or me or Pastor Shanan. And the 4th one is share us. Let everybody know about Straight Talk News because we are here to stay. You can also send us your news announcement. We'll be happy to announce it. Send it to Straight Talk News 1362 at gmail.com. That's Straight Talk News, and spell it all out. There'll be 2 T's, STRAIGHTTALKNEWS 1362 at gmail.com. And we're going to see you right back here next time for more Miss C on Straight Talk News. It's been good seeing you. Bye now.
Fann, the preacher man, right here on Straight Talk with Black History Facts with Brother James Brooms.
This is the Reverend Frederick Lee Shuttlesworth, a civil rights activist who led the fight against segregation and other forms of racism as a minister in Birmingham, Alabama. He was co-founder of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. He initiated and was very instrumental in the Birmingham campaign of 1963 and continued to work against racism and for alleviation of social and the systemic problems facing African Americans and the homeless. Born in Mount Meigs, Alabama, Fred Shuttlesworth became pastor of the Bethel Baptist Church in Birmingham in 1953. Fred Shuttlesworth also was the membership chairman of the Alabama State Chapter of the NAACP. Now, in 1956, the state of Alabama formally outlawed the NAACP from operating within the state. So, in retaliation, Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth, along with Ed Gardner, established the ACMHR, the Alabama Christian Movement for Human Rights. This was done in order to continue the struggle previously done by the NAACP. When the United States Supreme Court ruled that bus segregation in Birmingham was unconstitutional in December of 1956, Reverend Shuttlesworth immediately announced that the ACMHR would be challenging all the segregation laws of that city. Now, this in turn angered the white residents so much so that on December 25th, 1956, 16 sticks of dynamite were placed under his bedroom window. Now, even though his house was heavily damaged, Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth escaped unharmed. In 1957, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Ralph David Abernathy of Montgomery, Alabama, along with Fred Shuttlesworth from Birmingham and Joseph Lowery of Mobile, T.J. Jemison of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, along with Charles K. Steele of Tallahassee, Florida, also A.L. Davis of New Orleans and Bayard Ruskin and Ella Baker. They all got together and established the Southern Christian Leadership Conference and created its motto of not one hair, one head, of one person should be harmed. Now, Fred Shuttlesworth did embrace this philosophy, even though his own personality was combative, headstrong, and very blunt. He often disagreed with Dr. King, Ralph Abernathy, and Andrew Young on tactics and approaches. Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth was personally fearless. He understood and was willing to accept all the risks, even death, because Fred Shuttlesworth's motto was to kill segregation or be killed by it. After Reverend Shuttlesworth took up pastorage at the Revelation Baptist Church in Cincinnati, Ohio, he continued to participate in sit-ins of segregated lunch counters and took part in the organization of the Freedom Rides. He was also active in the Selma voting rights movement, which led to the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Throughout his entire life, the Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth never tired or wavered in his commitment. He had streets and foundations named in his honor, and in 2008, he was presented with the Presidential Citizens Medal by then-President Bill Clinton. He also received the Jefferson's Award for Greatest Public Service Benefiting the Disadvantaged. Also in 2008, the Birmingham, Alabama Airport Authority changed the name of its airport in his honor. The Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth died on October 5th, 2011. He was 89 years old. That's Frederick Lee Shuttlesworth. They forget all about him, but we won't.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, there he is live and in living color. And I do mean living color. Shanan E. Jones. Well, Miss Shanan, I just want to thank Miss C for her news and information about things that's coming up. And of course, this again, share with people that you can email Miss C at Straight Talk News 1362 at gmail.com. At Straight Talk News 1362 at gmail.com. And if you'd like to be a guest on the program, we'd love to have you. And of course, you can also email Miss C and she'll get your schedule at Straight Talk News 1362 at gmail.com. And we can't say enough about James Brooms and his Black History Facts on Fred Shuttlesworth, and who was a pioneer, a giant, and working for civil rights and standing up for injustices, standing against injustices back in the 60s. And you know, we are here where we are today as we ending up Black History Month. We are here where we are today for people like Fred Shuttlesworth and others who put their lives on the line that we might have the right to vote and be able to do the things that we're doing today.
Absolutely. Can I tell a quick Shuttlesworth story?
Yeah, go on.
So when I was executive pastor over at Ebenezer, they brought all the civil rights remaining leaders that were closest to Dr. King to come for a photo shoot. And Reverend Shuttlesworth, Reverend Jackson, Ambassador Young, C.T. Vivian made their way there. And Reverend Shuttlesworth was getting ready to leave. And it was, we were trying to coordinate transportation. He was very close to his flight time. And he was wheelchair bound, so it was going to be an issue. So he wasn't going to be able to go through the regular. We were going to need to take him through on the tarmac and get him on or get him through security a expedited way. So reached out to the general manager of the airport, and they put us with the airline. And so the airline said, okay, so he's flying to Shuttlesworth Airport. I said, yes. From Hartsfield, yes. How old is he? Gave his age, just that and the other. Who would be accompanying him? Yes. All right. And he's going, where is he going? I said to Shuttlesworth Airport. Okay, Shuttlesworth Airport. Okay, give me his name again. I said, Fred Shuttlesworth. She said, he's going to Fred Shuttlesworth Airport, but give me his name. I said, Fred Shuttlesworth. She said, sir, no, you're not hearing me. I know he's flying to Fred Shuttlesworth's International Airport, but what is his name? I said, ma'am, the Reverend Fred Shuttlesworth will be at your airport to fly to the airport in Birmingham named in his honor. So Fred Shuttlesworth will be coming to fly to Fred Shuttlesworth Airport. She said, oh, I see. And so they got him there and got him on there. She didn't understand. She said, what's the passenger's name? I said, his name is Fred Shuttlesworth. She didn't get it. But that was my personal story, and he was so gracious and just a great man. He and his wife, Sephora, it was wonderful being with them.
Well, I tell you the truth, man. These giants, these pillars, these are our ancestors now that we stand on their shoulders. And many of the young people don't really understand. And of course, through VEC, Voter Empowerment Collaborative, we're planning a trip. We're going to Selma on March the 5th, and the buses are filled. We don't even have a room on the buses for people to go to Selma. And it's amazing how many people still wanted to go that we could not accommodate for Bloody Sunday. And what I want to say is that we're going to make a trip to Birmingham. We're going to take a trip down to Birmingham and see the 16th, the church that a young lady was bombed at, right, and killed, right? We're going to tour Birmingham and see some of those sites, and even look at his airport. I mean, the airport named after a giant, a man who stood up for against injustices and perpetrated of people. And the one thing I like about this documentary that James did was it talked about his attitude. He was not a nonviolent kind of a guy, but he kind of submitted himself to Dr. King and Dr. King's approach to nonviolence, and how when Alabama shut down the NAACP, that they created another organization to still accomplish what they wanted to accomplish. But they were so ingenious in what they were doing and trying to help us as a people to get to the promised land and to get to where we are now. Get what the Constitution said that we are supposed to have as a people. But we've not yet arrived totally, and I think we're slipping into darkness. I think we're slipping back a little bit. So
you could cue the music on that. You could cue the music on that. Slipping in the darkness.
Yeah, but I think that we're gonna go and let you talk about CBC and the meeting with the mayor. Then we'll talk about this indictment possibly coming down on the former President Donald Trump here in Georgia.
Yeah, as President of Concerned Black Clergy, I'm honored, and we're honored to have any presenter that comes to us. But we're deeply honored to have Mayor, the 61st Mayor of the City of Atlanta, Mayor Andre Dickens, to be with us on Monday. We're calling all clergy to be here, because really this is what's being said. They're saying that with this gun violence that's going on, the organizations that are really out front and really making an outcry about this has been the Black church. And so we need to continue. So we're inviting all clergy to be with us Monday, 11 o'clock at the Vickers Community Center on 838 Cascade Avenue, to be with us at 11 o'clock with the mayor to discuss several issues, from affordable housing to his initiative, the Year of the Youth, to the rise of violence and gang violence that we're seeing in the city, and issues that we can do to deal with that, and just a myriad of other issues that we are concerned about. We don't all have to be supporters of one political party or one affiliation, one candidate, one mayor, but you do have to be concerned. So if you're concerned about the city and the direction that this city and the metropolitan area is going, we invite you to come and to sit with this mayor. He needs to hear from the clergy in a forum that's not a luncheon or something like that, but just a meeting where we can just round table and talk. We're inviting other activists to be with us as well. And I thank you very much for allowing us to be able to make this plea to clergy. We want them in the room.
Hey, Shannon, I'm saying, and people see my lip moving, I'm saying, like the sign said, Uncle Sam wants you, we want you to be there.
We want you. Absolutely.
Yeah, we want you to be there, because it's important. We just had the Concerned Cousin Clergy South for the Ministers some months ago. We did a prayer walk, clergy with a candle, through the Peter Street, McDaniel area, when young people are being killed and so many lives are being taken. And then this past week, another prayer walk that was held in the Vine City area. So ministers are engaged. So you can't say, well, where are the preachers at? The preachers are out here on the battlefield, and we need you out here on the battlefield. And as Reverend Dirty would say, listen, don't say I'm on the battlefield. Come on and get out here with us in the battle. Yeah, get on in the battle.
Get in the battle. Yes, sir.
Get in the battle.
Yes, sir.
We want to just kind of talk about this possible indictment. The special grand jury has come back with its recommendations to DA Fanny Willis, and from what all indications is, they're saying that there are possibly 3 people that ought to be indicted from this voter fraud. 3 people that possibly need to be indicted. And one of those people is who we know is the former president, Donald Trump. And of course, we are looking to see what's going to happen with this, because D.A. Willis said to the news reporter, she's not going to play this out in the news. She's going to play it out through the legal process in terms of what her legal options are and what she can do in this very public, highly public case. Never has a former president been accused of this kind of stuff that's going to cause them to get indicted. And I mean, we had the Watergate with Nixon, but that was another thing. But this right here is really serious, because he has been labeled an insurrectionist, dealing with voter tampering. I mean, just you name it, he's done it. And now, if you've seen the news lately, he is supporting Putin, the guy from North Korea, and he's trashing the United States of America. This is the man who said he wanted to make America great, but everything he's supporting is against America and dealing with people who are dictators.
And yet they want to bring him back. Bishop, the thing that's interesting, and I told you my views on this. In terms of an indictment, I'm not quite sure that's going to happen to a former president of the United States. But he made a lot of firsts. He was, I think the power of the American Constitution and the U.S. government is the peaceful transfer of power. And this president, that president, is not the president anymore, President Trump, did not stand there at the Washington Mall, at the Capitol, and watch Joe Biden be sworn in. Instead, he said that he's an illegitimate president, illegitimate election, illegitimate. So it was not a peaceful protest, a peaceful transfer of power. He then goes to Andrews Air Force Base and holds a special send-off, which they do generally do. I mean, they're not like that. Generally, the president leaves by helicopter and goes, and then we turn toward the new president and his administration, or her administration one day, hopefully. But this president really shook the nation in a way that took us in a place that historians will show exposed a fault line that was in the country. But it moved us in a direction that perhaps we didn't want to go in. I don't think that there will be an indictment of him, but we'll see. And I'm pragmatic with that. I don't think that you want to bring presidents with all the information that they have. I don't think you want to bring them into a court and turn the information that they would have under the penalty of perjury to speak openly about what they know. So that's what I'm saying, and that speaks more about what's happening around leadership of this country that we don't know about, and he does know. And I am not quite sure that you want him down here in Fulton County talking out of school.
Well, I hear what you're saying, and respectfully, I understand what you're saying, but also there can no longer be a double standard, because if you say to little Johnny, Susan, or people who don't have monies, who not connected, that they don't have to go to jail if they've violated a crime, when we say that no one is above the law. So if there's no one that is above the law, that means everyone. Christ died for all of us, not just for black folks or white folks or Asian folks or Indian folks. He died for all of us. So if that's true, then justice has to be applied equally. And I understand what your premise is and why you're saying what you're saying, but you can't, that saying that no one's above the law, then we need to change that saying and say there are certain people that are above the law because of certain information they may have, or hold, or possess, that would keep them from being indicted based on committing a crime. This man has committed so many different crimes, so many different things. If he's using that to keep him from going to jail or keeping him from being arrested, then we need to look at other people and in the spirit of fairness. Then we need to look at how we're going to do it moving forward. This man is trying to turn us into a communist nation, and he still has that information. And probably feeding it to Putin, and probably feeding to the North Korean president and those other communist countries that he's in bed with now. I mean, so where does this end? Where does it stop? How do we deal with this? And with all of this sensitive information that they have and others have. I mean, let's somewhere the buck must stop somewhere, and that's where I'm coming from. So I would hope that. Okay, go on. I'm listening.
No, I totally agree with you, and I agree with you on Johnny. And what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Johnny didn't bomb an Iraqi mother's home, and that Iraqi mother says, "Well, wait a minute, this was a crime that happened to me, but legally it happened." And so Johnny couldn't do that. Johnny couldn't send a bomb over to bomb somebody's house. Johnny couldn't spy on or have someone assassinated in the interest of national security. But presidents do. And there's a reason why they have closed sessions. They let us see so much on C-SPAN, then they go in a room because they don't want certain things out. But when you raise your hand and put your hand on that Bible, as Johnny does, and a question is asked you, you got to answer that question, no matter what it is. And I'm not quite sure we want to get to a space where presidents are doing that. I do agree with you. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. I just don't think that. I think that that's lip service when they say that the law applies to everyone equally, and I think it always has been. Certainly, our sojourn in America has shown that hadn't been true for us.
Well, as we continue to have this discussion around this, and we will have more discussion because something is going to come out very soon as to what's going to happen here in Georgia as it relates to the former president and his role in voter tampering. So if you're watching today, send us a comment on what your opinion is. Should the former president be indicted? Should he not be indicted? We have two different views of opinion. I think he should. Shanan says he doesn't think he does because of the position that he held. We want to hear from you. And don't forget, check us out each and every Friday. We come on live each and every Friday at 7 p.m. Now, many of you get this through other means of information, through texts and what have you, about us being on. But share this with your Facebook friends and your YouTube family. This ain't nothing but straight talk. Nothing but straight talk. And Shanan, I look to see you Monday. I look to see you Monday in person at CBC in the discussion with the mayor of the city of Atlanta.
Lot to talk about.
Join us Monday. Join us Monday. Give that address again in time.
Join us at 11 a.m. at the Vickers Community Center right there at the Community Church of God, 838 Cascade Avenue. All right. See you there. Right. If you need any more information, here's my cell number, 678-933-5091. 678-933-5091.
And I'll have it on the screen for you so you can call him. And listen, all I want to say to you is, preachers, Uncle Sam need a few good men. We need a few good preachers to join us on Monday. And this ain't been nothing but what? Straight talk. Until next week, God bless you. And do tune in. Straight Talk with your family members and friends.
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Greg Fann at FANN922@Comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shanan Jones and Greg Fann, the Preacher Man.